Radio Free Cybertron.
Transformers.
Rewind.
This week on Transformers Rewind, it's Optimal Situation. As a time storm ravages reality, Megatron gloats to the fading Maximals, since his attack on Optimus Prime ensures that the Autobots lose to the Decepticons, resulting in the Predacons having control of Cybertron. Black Arachnia uses the information from the Golden Disc to activate Teletran 1's security system, forcing Megatron out of the Ark.
Teletran 1?
Black Arachnia and Silverbolt activate the Ark's repair system to help stabilize Optimus Prime's condition. But the Autobot leader is still dying, and reality is still in flux.
It's done!
The other Maximals arrive, and upon seeing Prime, realize that they must save him.
That's just Prime.
Believing there's no other choice, Optimus Primal merges his spark with Prime's to save it. The merging of the two sparks results in the creation of Optimal Optimus, an upgraded form of Optimus Primal.
Do you understand? Take it outside! Rhinox, keep those repairs going.
Ah, I see we have a new Optimal Optimus to deal with. And carrying Prime's spark as well. Congratulations, Maximals. You shall have the honor of becoming the first Cybertronian fossils.
Outside, Waspinator provides cover fire by shooting the rocks above the Ark. The Predacons destroy the cave entrance and flee.
Oh man, I hate to say it, but we're trapped like rats!
But Megatron notices a trapped Black Arachnia.
What did you expect, you metal megalomaniac? What, that I would die for your insane ambition?
Enraged by her betrayal, Megatron shoots her.
There will be no more betrayals.
Black Arachnia? Black Arachnia. Oh, dark poison of my heart, abide with me yet a while.
You got away with words, Rover. You almost make me wish I was a better girl.
But you are, for at the last moment you made a stand against evil.
I was saving my own shell.
And with it the universe, and me.
Knowing that they are heading for the unprotected Axalon, Primal and Cheetor race off. Primal and Cheetor manage to down Megatron, Inferno, and Waspinator, but Primal discovers that Rampage and the Arachnoids are literally trying to drag the base away. Optimus manages to sever the lines and dispatch Rampage, but not before Rampage fires a missile which deflects off Primal and hits the Axalon. Due to the explosion, the Axalon plummets into the river. To restore the spark and life of Optimus Prime, Optimus Primal returns to the Ark. With no place to call home, the Maximals fortify the Ark and move
in. We're moving in.
Okay, so Optimal Situation marks, for me, like, the high point of my fervor as a Transformers fan. It's like, I first started watching Transformers, Beast Wars, pardon me, around the time, like, midway through Season 2. And by the end of Agenda Part 3, I about shit my pants. And I waited for so long for this episode to come through. And I don't think I've ever been happier, more satisfied, and more energized as a Transformers fan as when this episode first debuted. What about you guys? What does this episode hold for you? I love this episode. It's not the best episode by any stretch, but I loves it so much.
I have like two thoughts about it, in the sense that I totally agree with like where you're at. So like at the time that I watched it, you know, it was totally like, oh man, we're really here. We're really bridging that gap between, you know, Generation 1 and Beast Wars, and, you know, this is really a thing now, and you know, we have this, now the universe feels larger and more connected. And rewatching it, I could only think, wow, this is a huge send-up. And this episode has, like, very little substance, and is all just reference and sort of cheeky.
Buy the new toy.
Exactly. It's like, this is a new toy, here's a new toy, and, you know, you should really get this. You know, I think I even tweeted or texted to Brian last night when I was watching it. It was like, Optimal Optimus, available in stores now. Because it was totally that. But it wasn't just that. It was like all of the Transformers references that were made, all of the Generation 1 references that were made. It just seems completely devoid. And so many little things that are just odd, like, you know, Optimal Optimus, like, running off with Prime Spark, you know, to go into battle. Like, that's okay. So I don't know. It's
for me, maybe Adam, maybe this will have been the same experience that Adam had, but this episode was actually, living in the UK, this was my white whale, actually, of Beast Wars. Because we had the show on it was only shown on holidays, so we didn't have a regular time slot for it at all. We made it through about half of Season 1, then jumped directly to Other Voices, the finale, the Season 1 finale. So we missed all the second half of Season 1, introduction of Air Razor, Inferno, stuff like that, all that. And then we got all of Season 2 shown. And then they never showed any more episodes on television after Season 2. So we got left with the Agenda cliffhanger. Now, it had been chopped to bits by this stage. It was a real mess in airing. And fortunately enough for me, Adam would have had this experience, but an Irish television network did pick up Beast Wars and did show the entire first series. So I did get to see all of that. But I never saw Season 3 until they finally brought out VHSs. Yes, VHS. This is the era we're living in here. 4 VHS tapes with 3 episodes apiece. Now that's 12, if you do your maths. And how many episodes were there in Season 3? There were 13. What one episode did they not include in any of the 4 episodes? 4 VHS tapes?
Wow.
The Situation was only released as a Volume 0 VHS cassette, available only through Toys R Us's, the nearest one of which to me was 2 hours away, with certain purchases.
Oh,
I
wow.
did not see Optimal Situation until a DVD of a random selection of Beast Wars Season 2 and 3 episodes was released in the UK around 2001.
Wow.
Yeah. So, but I mean, I knew what happened in it because I had the internet. But, so you can't wait all that time for that, and then have optimal situation presented to you.
Was it the same way for you, Adam? Were you able to get it?
I didn't see any of them until a show called Music Zone decided to start stocking the strange hybrid DVD that had a smattering of episodes from all over the place. And I was a bit confused.
One with Optimus Primal on the cover.
Because all I'd ever seen is the majority of Season 1, about half of Season 2, and then this. And so I was sitting here going, what the hell is going on in this series? Well, I just saw him. He was stuck in a great big pod, being thrown into space. It something looked like a episode of Reboot. What's with this new body? What's going on? What? This series confused the living hell out of me up until about 2004, where I actually managed to get to watch the entire thing.
Most people in the UK felt abused by Beast Wars.
Abused isn't the term. What's that? You're a Transformers fan? Then please bend over. It'll take some time.
I really wish they'd gone in the direction for season 3 that Bob and Larry wanted to go in, like with the Seekers playing a part and all of that. That would have been crazy. And it would
I would never have wanted that. Well, we were trapped after the agenda. All the G1, we were all pumped. It was like, yes! Beast Wars is G1. But it's like looking back on it retroactively. Well, to be honest, it probably wouldn't have hurt Season 3, because Season 3 is easily the weakest season in the Beast Wars and has a lot of problems. But and it probably would have made it better in the sense that, like, all of us would have been, thrust the ram didn't do it, best thing ever. But, like, in retrospect, we probably wouldn't have thought that much of it. But I think that was just Simon Furman's idea for the Nemesis two-parter, rather than anything Bob and Larry.
Was it? Okay. Yeah. I could see Furman doing that. You know, the thing that always struck me about this episode is that the time stream gets disrupted because Megatron annihilates Optimus Prime's head. And somehow, using 4 million-year-old technology, they're able to fix that. But using 2005 technology, they couldn't, like, save him with a shot being, like, just, like, through his chest. You know, using 2012 technology, we would have, like, 3D printed him a new head. And, like, hit the reset button.
Clearly, Brian, his spark was wounded and dying in the film and in the cartoon. His spark was healthy, and it was just his body that needed repairs.
I think this is another testament of where, like, how the fandom has changed and grown over time. Where a perfect example, again, something else I mentioned to Brian, was, you know, at the time when the whole, you know, how much of confusion was there initially, and then resolution when, you know, Primal goes in and takes what looks like the matrix of leadership out of Prime's chest and pulls Prime's spark out of it and then takes it in. And we get the explanation, well, that was just his spark container that was on top of the real matrix, and we all went, oh, okay, that's cool, alright. Whereas now, like, if that happened, like, there would be like, oh my god, this is so awful, they don't know what the hell they're doing.
Complete disgrace, total slap in the face.
Oh, it was the same way back then.
There was some of that, I'm not saying there wasn't, but there was a lot more forgiveness.
We were just hungry back then for this stuff.
But that's what I'm saying, and that's what's changed a little bit with, like, in terms of the fandom, and I think this episode can be a testament of that, where it's like, so much of this stuff is send up, and yet not, you know, it's not all done in, like, a way that makes sense. It's just like, there was enough reference, and we were so hungry for it that we just ate it up. And that's why I'm saying now, watching it, I'm like, wow, this is kind of lame, really.
It is a totally different time. Like, we get references. I think, and I'm not holding it against it, really, although, I guess I kind of am. Animated kind of killed references in Transformers television.
Yeah.
It took it to the total limit. And now you just can't really do it anymore because Animated just over-egged the pudding. And I don't think it was really to the detriment of the show. I'll be honest, by the end of Season 3 of Animated, I was getting pretty sick of giant crowd scenes containing cameo appearances by animated versions of G1 characters.
Yeah, but you had to write about those, so that's a little bit... we audience got to enjoy it. You had to write an entire wiki post about it.
And to be although maybe the same though is like a mistake like that wouldn't happen today either.
Yeah.
People know Trans G1G, like we've got the fans of the brand working to create these things now at this stage. Where in Beast Wars we didn't yet.
Yeah, Alt Toys Transformers was the source of information for most of that stuff. And Benny and people who, supported. Hey, Rob, you got into Beast Wars later, right?
Yeah, I actually saw this one when it aired, and as not being into Beast Wars at the time, it's like, it was kind of neat because of all the, G1 references and such, and it pulled me into a certain extent like I think it was supposed to do. In retrospect, this is actually right where I left off with Beast Wars last time. I have not watched Season 3 yet, so this is pretty much where I left off, and it's... I have two thoughts at this stage, which is one, as it works pretty well as a season opener and a resolution, but as an episode of Beast Wars, it's not the strongest. In the context of the series that came before it, I actually like it less than I did as a standalone. My other thought is that Transformers Prime is going to be coming back and having to do something very much like this season, and it's going to take them 5 episodes.
Yeah. hey, Rob. So, if you've not watched Season 3, you said.
No, not
okay,
yet.
Make a point to watch it, and like in April when we'll do another one of these, and we can do that Dark Glass episode, like at the beginning of the month.
Okay.
That would be great.
I will do that.
That would be great. So,
actually, when in the greater context of Season 3, Optimal's situation is kind of symptomatic of a lot of the problems of Season 3, because it is really all about selling the new toy. And Beast Wars was never really like that. To this extent, Season 1 happens, you get the new characters in the stasis pods, they get an episode, they're integrated into the main show, and that's it, Then Season 2, all the new toys got out of the way in the first 3-parter, essentially, and then Rampage comes in later, and that's it. I did a mental count last night when I was watching this, and I realized, there's 13 episodes, and 7 of them in Season 3, more than half, are dedicated to introducing new characters and toys in Season 3. And then the other 6 are... 2 of them are dedicated to killing one of the new toys, and then the other ones are kind of throwaway stuff, like changing of the guard, where they go to get Sentinel out of the ocean, and the proving grounds. Well, that's not really throwaway, and to go with the flow, of course, a big one too. Yeah, Season 3 has problems, and selling new toys is one of them, because it seems like they couldn't create a group origin for the Transmetal 2s the way they could for Transmetals, and the introduction of Optimus is kind of symptomatic of that. And it's like they sort of try to poke at it a bit when Rat Trap makes the crack about Optimus changing his bodies all the time, and I'm like, he's done it exactly the same number of times as the rest of you before now. That's not really a joke.
I wish it would have been instead of Optimus taking the Matrix himself, he'd have been like, fuck it, Rhinox, you hold the Matrix for a while. Then we've got like an optimal Rhinox, and that would have been great.
Rhinox never got a new body the whole time.
Not in the series, no. Not until Beast Machines.
Rhinox is for this episode, Rhinox is entirely confined to the Ark pushing buttons on a machine, and that's Rhinox's entire role in all of Season 3.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Is it wrong that the main thing I took away from this episode, I love Optimus being used as an insult?
Yes.
Yeah. But it's, we see you have a new Optimus now available in stores. Yeah. Way to get about saying that thing's name repeatedly. He says it like twice.
Yeah, he said it twice. The thing is, they don't really go into this so much, but it's kind of like escalation. It's kind of like the arms race, because Optimus is so much bigger, so much more powerful, basically, than any other Maximal or Predacon at that point. That it's if things had stayed where they were, Optimus probably could have just taken all of the Predacons himself, and the whole thing could have just been done if the Transmetal 2 stuff didn't happen.
Yeah, I mean, you look at where the series goes immediately following this. You get an episode introducing Depth Charge, and then after that, I think the next one is Cutting Edge with the Cyber Raptors. And what's the first thing that happens in that is that they conk out Optimus with their venom, so that he's slid out of the fight, so that stuff can actually happen. And then Transmetal 2 start happening.